in these unprecedented times. So here's the sweet spot you want to find when you're making any decisions. And what kind of decisions are we talking about that we're faced with? Every category of our life is up for reevaluation and for decision making, whether it's what do I do with my kids this summer without school, what do I do with my job and where is it going and what am I doing with my business and how do I pivot and how are my relationships changing and do I travel or do I not travel and how how much investment do I want to put into current events and on and on and on. It's like there's a glut, an onslaught of decisions that we're really faced with if we're facing them, which I invite you to do. So here's the sweet spot to find in making decisions. And I say this knowing that it is a bit of a holy grail, but when you keep focused on the holy grail, you're more likely to get there. So the holy grail of decision making is equanimity. And it's such a mouthful of a word, but it's such a beautiful word. I guess another word for that would be neutrality. So when we can find neutral, the neutral button, the neutral gear, then we can make the right decisions for ourselves. Now, what prevents that equanimity is both thoughts and emotions. And when we live our lives on the plane of either the mental plane of thoughts and debate and opinions and judgments and patterns and beliefs and the really, really busy mental plane, that is not going to provide us strong decision making power. And when we live from these emotions of shock and anger and upset and even desire, even like wanting and longing and craving and pleasure, those are all great. And you don't want to make decisions from that either. You want to tame, have sovereignty, have dominion over both the mind and the emotions before you make decisions. That is a place of equanimity. Now, for some people, that means they need to take enough time before they make decisions. So they ride sort of an up and down wave of how they feel about things so they can kind of find that center still point. For others, you might intuitively know right away. You might have an intuitive hit and then you don't trust it. So you pop up in your head or you go seek advice or what have you. But if your goal is equanimity, if your goal is to find that still place from which to choose your next right step, then your next right step will bring you what you're wanting. So often what I do, especially in my business, is I have these big goals in my mind. And then my mind decides how I should achieve those goals. And usually what it's doing is it's providing me with old information to create something new. And that doesn't really work very well. Honestly, the better path for me is to thank the mind and bring the mind in when I need it, but not to be the leader in the situation. And to get still about a decision of am I launching, am I not launching? Am I starting new groups? Am I shifting the business? Am I focusing more of my energy on the offline part of our business or do I keep the online going? I mean, there's all these decisions that are in front of me right now. And I'm noticing my mind thinks it knows what it wants to do. Meanwhile, my body and my emotions are not in line with that. My body's exhausted. We had a death in the family. I'm having a little bit of a health bump. And so my body's like, nah, no, you don't. My mind's like, yes, you do. My emotions like, no, you don't. So I'm like, back and forth. What I need to do to make a good decision about what's the right next step is to get quiet, get to equanimity, get to neutral, and then connect, and then my next right step will appear. It's very, very simple. It's not easy because if you're like me, you're bouncing between the mind and the emotions and the emotions and the mind and then other people's opinions. And so I really just invite you to do whatever practice. I'm not going to go over the practices today. You know what they are. Whatever practice you need. And I also invite you to take more time right now in our growth as a country, as a culture, as a community. Right now is an inflection point, right? But really an inflection point on such a bigger realm than is apparent in the headlines. Like the collective consciousness, the evolution of humanity is at such an inflection point. If you can get quieter than you are now, then you can receive the guidance and the inspiration to lead in your life and in your communities. But you're not going to get there if you're bandied about by mind and emotion. So I really like right now, like this month, like today, let's just say for the next 7 days, you go a little quieter, a little more still, a little more inside, a little more tuned in, and you just watch all of the other crazy stuff, and let's see what you can produce. Let's harness that strength that's there. Let's make really, really good informed decisions, informed from here, not from here. Got it? All right, that's all I wanted to say today. Hope you have a beautiful week, and we'll be back. Ciao for now.